The road turned away from the ocean, and the cart headed north into the sleeping kingdom. It was a very hilly place surrounded by towering mountain ranges. It was a surprisingly dismal land, although the twins weren't sure what they had expected. All the fields were dry and all the trees were bare. Everything seemed like it hadn't been alive for a very long time. Why is everything dead? Connor asked. I don't think they're dead, Alex said. I think they're sleeping. Sleeping Beauty's castle was located in the center of the village called Sleepy Valley, and once the twins arrived there and hopped off the cart, they understood how it had gotten its name. The entire village surrounding the castle looked deserted. The twins found a man standing behind the open window of a bakery. He was resting his head on his hand and his elbow on the windowsill. He was sleeping, standing up. Excuse me, Alex said, not wanting to be rude and wake him up. Yes, the man asked with his eyes still closed. Where is everyone? Alex asked. Resting, the man said with a yawn, and then began to snore. Sure enough, as the twins walked through the village, they could see many other shopkeepers and servants drowsily moving about inside the shops, slowly getting their work done. They all looked as if they were about to fall asleep at any second. I thought the curse on the kingdom had been broken, Connor said. They don't seem to be sleeping because they have to. It looks like they're sleeping because they want to, Alex said. Alex and Connor walked through the sluggish town and found Sleeping Beauty's castle. The castle was a spectacular sight. It was the tallest structure the twins had ever seen. It was made from peach-colored stones, and its many tall towers soared into the sky, with the tallest in the very center. When the twins looked closely, they saw the residue left from the vines that had once grown up the castle walls. There were many vast gardens surrounding the castle, or at least there would have been if anything were alive. Gardeners slept in the garden, still clasping their tools. Every few minutes they would wake up and continue working, but they would fall back asleep almost immediately. There were guards everywhere, but the twins effortlessly walked past them. Every once in a while, a guard would open an eye and consider saying something to them, but then decide to go back to sleep instead. They found the main entrance to the castle and entered. They walked down a long hall with a soaring ceiling that led to the throne room. It had white pillars and a checkered floor. The ceiling was painted the colors of dusk with vivid pinks and oranges. Guards lined the entire room, and they were all entirely unconscious. Sitting on the throne ahead of them was a beautiful woman. She was speaking with two men. One was tall and handsome, and the other was short and old with a white beard. The woman wore a tiara made of silver flowers and had long flowing golden hair. She wore a thin gown, a shade of pale rose with matching gloves. The twins knew without a doubt that it was Sleeping Beauty. She was speaking with the royal advisor and her husband, King Chase. She looked troubled and in a state of contemplation. She was tired, too, like the twins' mother looked when there was a lot on her mind. Perhaps we should enforce a law. No sleeping permitted during the day, the advisor said. Absolutely not, Sleeping Beauty said. I will not force something so oppressive on my people. Let us not forget that this isn't their fault. The curse is over, Your Highness, the advisor said. It's time for the kingdom to wake up and see that. As far as I'm concerned, the curse is upon us. Until the day this kingdom is in the exact condition it was before the spell was cast, Sleeping Beauty said. I may be awake, but being asleep for 100 years has taken a toll on them. They shouldn't be punished or held accountable for any of this. Darling, you may have no choice, King Chase said, taking her hand in his. The kingdom is falling apart. There are no crops being grown or business being done. Let me think about it, she said, and let out a long sigh. May I make a suggestion? Connor said, walking toward the trio. He took them by surprise. They didn't know anyone else in the room was conscious. Alex was a little scared. She had no idea what her brother was about to say. She hoped his speech in the fairy kingdom hadn't given him a big head. Who are you? The advisor asked. I'm Connor, and this is my sister Alex, he said. Alex awkwardly waved from behind him. You have a lovely castle, she said. How did you get in here? King Chase asked. Seriously? Connor asked him, gesturing to the sleeping guards behind him. This isn't exactly Fort Knox. They don't know what that is, Connor, Alex whispered. Young man, the advisor said, with all due respect, this is a very important matter we're discussing, and we've been trying to find a solution for years and still haven't come up with anything that doesn't take away basic human freedoms, Sleeping Beauty said. So if this young man thinks he has an answer, I say we let him speak. Have any of you ever heard of coffee before? Connor asked. They stared blankly at him. Never mind. I've been told it stunts your growth. Anyway, he said, I fall asleep a lot in school. It's not my fault. My brain just turns off when it gets bored. A trick I discovered when I remember to use it is to wear a rubber band around my wrist and snap it right when I feel myself drifting off to sleep. The sting keeps me conscious for a good 5 minutes, guaranteed. They were puzzled by his proposal. Look, it isn't a rocket science solution, but it does work, Connor said. And your people could do it to themselves, so you wouldn't be forcing them into anything. And maybe if they did it enough, they eventually wouldn't need to anymore. They still need convincing, Connor turned to Alex for help. Alex, do you have any rubber bands on you? Connor asked. I may have some hair ties in my bag, Alex said. She put her bag on the floor and searched through it, accidentally knocking the glass slipper out onto the floor. The clank echoed through the throne room. The twins panicked. It was as if time had frozen. Sleeping Beauty, her husband, and the advisor grew very tense. How did you get that? Sleeping Beauty asked. It's Queen Cinderella's glass slipper, the advisor said. No, it's not what you think, Alex said, quickly putting it back into her bag. We didn't steal it, Connor said. Guards! King Chase shouted. A few guards from behind the twins suddenly awoke and became alert. Seize them! The king shouted. Here we go again, Connor said as the guards sprinted toward them. He grabbed Alex's wrist and pulled her into a run. Your Majesty, Alex pleaded to Sleeping Beauty, we've come to borrow your spindle. We're collecting objects for the wishing spell. Sleeping Beauty stood, about to speak, but the twins couldn't wait around to hear what she had to say. They were running around the throne room in circles, barely missing the extended hands of guards trying to grab hold of them. Alex and Connor ran through a set of open doors leading out of the throne room. They had no idea where they were going, but they knew they had to move. They had been through too much to let guards catch them this time. I'm so tired of being chased, Connor yelled. They ran down hallway after hallway, making sharp turns whenever they could to throw off the guards. They were moving so fast that the beautiful architecture and artwork of the castle was nothing but a blur. Suddenly, the hallway they were in came to a dead end. Now what are we going to do? Alex asked. Quick, in here, Connor said, and pulled her through the closest set of open doors. They found a stone staircase on the other side and ran up it. It spiraled higher and higher, and the twins wondered if it would ever end. They were climbing to an impossible height. They must have been headed to the tallest tower in the castle. They reached to the very top of the stairs and found a big black door. They rushed through it and immediately locked it from the other side. Now where are we? Connor asked and looked around. The twins were standing in a large, circular room with tall windows. There were violet drapes and a lavender rug. A balcony wrapped around the entire room outside. Only 2 pieces of furniture were in the room. An enormous bed and a spinning wheel made from dark wood. Connor, Alex said softly, I think we're in Sleeping Beauty's room. The room she slept in for 100 years. Connor walked over to the bed. There was a beautiful engraving on the headboard that said, For 100 years she slept, the hearts of her people she kept, so they awaited with patience for the bliss of true love and true love's first kiss.